Medicaid letter, did you get it, and what does it mean? I have all the details and what you need to know right here in the video, so let's get right into it. Alright, now in this video, I do want to discuss a letter that will be going out to tens of millions of low-income Americans who are enrolled in Medicaid, and what this letter actually means, as well as what you need to do with it. Let's get into it and discuss all the details, as things are changing very rapidly right now, especially the low-income, and of course, those people enrolled in Medicaid. However, really fast before we do, thank you so much for joining me. If you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, please make sure to subscribe by hitting the button right down below the video, as it's totally free to do so, and because I am your one and only daily advocate, it is my dedication, my commitment, and my promise to you and everybody right here in the community to continuously watch all this new information hitting the wire, doing the necessary research, and breaking it all down into these short videos so you can stay posted on what's actually going on right now as things continue to change, and it's a very busy, confusing, and uncertain time that we're currently living through. So I want to break that all down for you here in this video and continuously be here right by your side every single day, as that's my promise and I'm sticking to it. So again, thanks so much for joining me. Please subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet, and let's get into it and talk about the Medicaid letter and what this means if you are enrolled in Medicaid right now, as you probably want to watch for this. All right, so there are some major changes coming in for those people enrolled in Medicaid, which is tens of millions of people. About 100 million people in the United States are enrolled in Medicaid. It's a lot of people, nearly 1/3 of the population here in this country, a little bit less than that, but still a lot of people. Therefore, we need to talk about the details around Medicaid, what is going on here, and what are the changes that are coming in, as well as what's this letter that you should be expecting at some point. All right, now one quick side note that I want to throw out there really quickly, which is I'm talking about Medicaid, not Medicare, okay? I want to make sure that we're all on the same page here, and that so there's no confusion about this. Medicaid, not Medicare, okay? Very different programs. All right, so let's talk through the details about this. This all comes down to the cancellation of the Public Health Emergency Declaration. Now, this has been in place for over 3 years. In fact, this was brought into effect way back in the beginning of 2020. So over 3 years ago is when this was brought in, and it's now expiring. Well, as a result of that, we have states all across the country. In fact, all the states will be doing something with their Medicaid rolls, as in the people that are enrolled in Medicaid. All right, so as a result of that, I want to talk through the details because I've continuously done research on this. I've continuously watched this very closely as this thing has been evolving over the last couple months here, and I want to bring it to your attention. So here is what is going on. Because of the Public Health Emergency Declaration expiring, this simply means that essentially all the rules and the federal funding going to the states to make sure that nobody is dropped from Medicaid coverages, since all of that is ending, now the states will need to go through their rolls, as in who is enrolled in Medicaid, and start removing people from Medicaid, okay? So as a result of that, I've seen numbers all across the board. Anywhere between about 14 million and 25 million people are likely going to be losing Medicaid coverages here over the coming weeks and months. Not a good situation, right? I've talked about that before in other videos, and as we've been anticipating something like this to happen, I've been saying for a very long time, this is not going to be a good situation. It's not going to be pretty when this whole thing unravels here, and that's what we're seeing right now is the unraveling of this. All right, so as a result of that, states all across the country are going to be sending out forms to those individuals who are enrolled in Medicaid, asking you to verify essentially your eligibility for Medicaid, okay? So basically, they're going to be asking millions upon millions of people to essentially reapply for Medicaid because they may be suspicious that, well, maybe some people are not actually eligible for Medicaid. And like I said, that's the case with about 14 to 25 million people, depending on which report you look at. It seems like nobody really knows what these numbers actually are at this point until we go through this process of sending out the forms, getting them filled out by all the beneficiaries, and then determining, oh, wow, this is how many people actually were removed from the Medicaid program. So it sounds like as of right now, they really don't even have an accurate number or even estimation as far as how many people may be removed from Medicaid. Well, like I said, the estimates right now preliminary estimates between 14 million and 25 million people. That's a lot. That's a huge, huge number, right? So as a result of this, you may be receiving a letter from your state. Now remember, here's what's interesting about Medicaid, just like a lot of these other programs out there. Federally funded, state administered, okay? So it's administered on the state level, it's managed on the state level, but it is funded by the federal government. Make sense? So just like the SNAP program, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, otherwise known as food stamps, that one is also the same situation. Federally funded, state administered, okay? So that's the same thing with Medicaid is going with going on with Medicaid as well. So as a result of that, you may be getting a letter from your state asking you to verify your eligibility for the Medicaid program. If you get that letter, you may want to fill it out, okay? Now, of course, just because all these states are different, they're probably all going to have a different form. It's going to look probably a little bit different, but in general, it's probably going to ask some of the following questions: your name, your address, probably some of your birthday information. It's probably want to know your income as well, okay? If you're receiving fixed income benefits, if you're a low income beneficiary, whatever your income may be, that is what they're going to want to know as well. They may, they probably want to verify that as well. So you got to be honest with all this stuff, okay? So just remember, if you submit this letter, they're probably going to ask for some kind of verification of all of this. They may not, but just be prepared. If they ask you, you got to prove it, okay? So please be aware of that. They're also going to want to know how many people are living in your household, okay? They're probably going to want to know that information as well. So please be on the lookout for this. According to what I've been researching on this and according to what I've been finding on this, this is kind of an interesting time right now because here we are. And again, a lot of these states are going to be implementing this relatively soon. However, over the coming months. So here's what it said. It basically gave us a window from basically early April all the way through July is where all of these states will start determining who is eligible for Medicaid within their respective borders. So again, we've got a huge window here. Essentially anytime between now and going forward over the coming, few weeks, the next couple months here, if you happen to get a letter from your state, you probably want to open it up and you probably want to follow through if you have a letter in there asking about your eligibility for Medicaid, okay? So please be aware of this. And another thing too, I want to throw out there. According to what I've been researching on this, it looks like, according to my understanding on this, they said if you get a letter and they don't get it within that 30-day time frame that you give you, they're pretty much going to remove people from Medicaid if the form is not returned back to them within the 30 days. So again, you got to become prompt with this as well. So maybe at this point, maybe your state has already sent out the letter. Maybe you've already received this letter. If not, you may be receiving it. Again, there's a little bit of a gray area here as far as who will be getting it. Will everybody across the entire country who is enrolled in Medicaid be getting this letter? Or is it just the people who are possibly at risk of losing Medicaid coverages? I've looked into that. I honestly couldn't find necessarily a definite answer as far as who's going to get it. Is it everybody? Is it just the people at risk of losing benefits? We don't know that. And again, it may be different with each individual state. I want to say this much. If you're enrolled in Medicaid, just be on the lookout. If you get a letter, you probably want to act relatively quickly. If you don't get a letter, well, then you might be fine, okay? So again, just want to throw this out there. This is something that's now going on right now where all of these states are going through. And a lot of people will be losing Medicaid coverages as a result of this, mostly due to a couple of the following reasons. Number one, income. Income is too high, above the level that makes somebody eligible for Medicaid. Next, somebody moved out of state. Let me give you a quick example. Let's just say that you're located in California. You decide to, and you're enrolled in Medicaid, right? So you're located in California, you move out of California, and you're enrolled in Medicaid. Now you're living in, North Carolina. You moved all the way across the country, okay? And again, I'm just giving an example here. Now you live in North Carolina. You can't necessarily be enrolled in Medicaid in California if you're living in North Carolina. That's not how it works, okay? You've got to be living within the state that you are enrolled in Medicaid, okay? So that is another big one as well, because a lot of people have done a lot of moving here over the last couple of years. So keep that in mind as well. If that's your case, just, kind of be on the lookout here. Anyway, want to bring this to your attention. This is something that is happening. It's out there right now, and it is, kind of a big deal. It's impacting a lot of people, tens of millions of low-income people, and therefore, I need to bring this to your attention because I'm watching everything closely, and this is just another one we've got to pay attention to. So, if you receive a letter from your state, probably want to open it, probably want to act upon it. If it is some type of form asking for your information, talking about, your eligibility for Medicaid. Anyway, hope this one helps you. Again, please leave your comments, your questions, your feedback down below. Make sure to subscribe down below. As I get more information, I will, of course, bring it to your attention right away here. Yeah, kind of a weird time right now, but this is what's happening. Again, subscribe down below, share the video, and go back and check out any of the other thousands of videos here on the channel. Until next time, enjoy your day, and I'll catch you again later in the next video.